The atmosphere in Los Angeles has shifted dramatically, and the buzz around the Lakers has never been louder. Overnight, ticket prices for the team's final home game of the 2025-26 regular season skyrocketed, and the reason can be traced back to one man, LeBron James. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. On Monday, James took to X, formerly Twitter, and posted a short but powerful message that instantly set the basketball world on fire. The decision of all decisions, October 7th, 12 p.m. EST. It wasn't just the words that captured attention. James also included the hashtag, The Second Decision, a deliberate reference to his polarizing 2010 television special, The Decision. Back then, James was a free agent for the first time in his career, and millions tuned in to see where he would play. That broadcast became one of the most talked about sports moments of the modern era. Now, 15 years later, James is once again teasing a monumental choice, and fans are convinced it could define the end of his career. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ticket marketplace TickPick reported a surge in demand within hours of the post. Seats that were selling for as little as $85 earlier in the day suddenly jumped to $445, and that's just for the cheapest available tickets. The Lakers' home finale against the Utah Jazz has instantly transformed from a routine game into a potential historic moment, one fans aren't willing to miss at any cost. Speculation spread like wildfire. Could James simply be promoting an event or partnership? Possibly, but the majority of fans and analysts believe this is much bigger. They believe LeBron James is preparing to announce his farewell season, his 23rd year in the NBA, a record that no player before him has ever reached. At 40 years old, James continues to produce at an elite level. He will turn 41 midway through the season, and despite the inevitable wear and tear of more than 2 decades on the court, he still ranks among the game's most impactful players. Last season, he averaged numbers comparable to younger stars across the league, proving his longevity is unmatched. Yet the reality of retirement hovers closer than ever. When asked about his future during Lakers Media Day on September 29th, James admitted the end is no longer a distant thought. "I don't know when the end is," he said, "but I know it's a lot sooner than later." That candid statement only added fuel to the idea that October 7th could be the day James finally puts a timeline on his career. For Lakers fans, the stakes are high. James has been the cornerstone of the franchise since joining Los Angeles in 2018. Over 7 seasons, he has appeared in more than 400 games for the team, averaging 26.6 points per game and securing an all-star selection every single year. His crowning achievement in Los Angeles came in 2020, when he led the Lakers to their 17th NBA championship, a moment that tied the franchise with the Boston Celtics for the most titles in league history. Beyond the numbers, James's impact in Los Angeles has been transformative. He brought star power, championships, and global attention back to the Lakers, reviving a team that had struggled through years of mediocrity before his arrival. His presence has elevated not just the Lakers, but the NBA as a whole, cementing his legacy as one of the most influential athletes in sports history. Still, the uncertainty looms. Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka addressed the situation, voicing what many within the organization are hoping for. "We would love if LeBron's story is to retire as a Laker," Pelinka said. "The sentiment is clear. The Lakers want James to finish his career in purple and gold, adding yet another legendary chapter to the franchise's storied history. But the clock is ticking. James's current contract expires at the end of the 2025-26 season, meaning the second decision could carry enormous weight. If it is indeed an announcement of retirement, this will be the beginning of a farewell tour unlike anything the NBA has ever seen. Every arena, every matchup, every moment will become a piece of history. If instead James chooses a different path, whether that means another season, a new role, or even a departure from the Lakers, it will still mark a defining moment in his iconic career. For now, the basketball world waits. The date is set, October 7th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Fans, analysts, and players alike will tune in, knowing that LeBron James doesn't make casual statements. Every move he makes resonates far beyond the court, and whether this marks the beginning of his final season or a new chapter altogether, one truth is undeniable: this is the decision of all decisions. The surge in ticket prices is just one sign of what's at stake. The possibility of witnessing LeBron James's last game in Los Angeles is more than enough to drive fans into a frenzy. And if this truly is the beginning of the end, history will remember not just the games, but the anticipation, the speculation, and the way one man's words could send shockwaves through the entire sports world. LeBron James has defined an era of basketball. On October 7th, he may define how that era ends. The Los Angeles Lakers tipped off their preseason with a sobering 103-81 loss to the Phoenix Suns on Friday night in Palm Springs. But the biggest storyline wasn't the score, or even the on-court struggles of a team still trying to find its rhythm. The real spotlight was on Luka Dončić. The Lakers announced before tip-off that their 26-year-old superstar would not play in the team's first 2 preseason games, immediately sparking speculation across the league and among fans about when the former Eurobasket standout will make his long-awaited debut in purple and gold. For weeks, anticipation had been building. Doncic's arrival in Los Angeles was the move that sent shockwaves across the NBA this summer, changing the balance of power in the Western Conference. Yet, despite the excitement, the Lakers are opting for patience. The decision to keep Dončić sidelined during the early part of the exhibition schedule is no accident. It's part of a carefully designed plan by new head coach JJ Redick, who made his position on the matter clear in his most recent comments. "We're going to use next week to keep him in a good place physically, with his body, his energy, all of that," Redick explained during training camp. He was fantastic during the first couple of days at camp. Really impressive, but it was a lot. Given the heavy workload he carried this summer, it just made sense to pull back a little. He's in a great place mentally and physically, and we're just going to continue to use next week to ramp him up and get all the guys acclimated to playing with him. That workload Redick referred to was no small matter. Dončić is less than a month removed from an exhausting Eurobasket campaign, where he faced off against some of the most physical and skilled competition in the world. Game after game, he shouldered the scoring load, the playmaking responsibilities, and the pressure of leading his national team deep into the tournament. By the time he arrived at Lakers camp, he wasn't just bringing talent, he was also bringing fatigue. It's a delicate balance. On one hand, the Lakers know the preseason is valuable for building chemistry. On the other, they understand the bigger picture, preserving Doncic's health for an 82-game marathon, followed by what they hope will be a long postseason run. That's why skipping the first 2 exhibition games might be more than just precautionary. It might be the smartest investment in the team's championship ambitions. Dončić himself admitted that while the preseason doesn't carry the same weight as the regular season, it still serves a purpose. Speaking candidly about the process, he said, "For me, I can't wait for the regular season. I know the preseason is way different. I can't wait for the real games. But practice, getting the reps, building chemistry together, that's what matters right now. Those practices have been anything but ordinary." Under Redick's watch, training camp has been intense, demanding, and deliberately uncomfortable. The message is clear. The Lakers are not just preparing to compete, they are preparing to contend. The organization has even adopted a new mantra that is plastered throughout its El Segundo training facility: championship habits, championship communication, championship shape. That motto isn't just a slogan. Players describe a different energy around the gym. The drills are longer. The scrimmages are sharper, conditioning is emphasized at every turn. Redick, who stepped into the head coaching role with the reputation of a sharp basketball mind, is already proving that his approach isn't about flash, it's about fundamentals. And part of those fundamentals is ensuring that the team's brightest star doesn't burn out before the real grind begins. The Lakers know what's at stake this season. With LeBron James entering his 40th year, and with Dončić stepping into one of the biggest roles of his career, this could be a defining season for the franchise. The pressure to deliver is immense. Every decision, even holding Dončić out of meaningless preseason minutes, carries weight. Fans, of course, are impatient. The buzz around Crypto.com arena is palpable. Social media lights up with every clip from practice, every quote from Redick, every glimpse of Dončić in purple and gold. Supporters want to see the new era begin on the court, not just in photos or sound bites. But as frustrating as the wait may be, the logic is undeniable. A player who logged heavy minutes in international competition less than a month ago needs rest. He needs recovery. He needs to be managed properly if the Lakers are going to have him at full strength when the regular season tips off. It's also worth noting that this isn't the first time the Lakers have taken a cautious approach with their stars. Over the years, the franchise has learned, sometimes the hard way, the cost of pushing too early, too soon. In this case, Redick and the front office are aligned in their vision. The goal isn't to win in October, it's to be playing in June. So when will Luka Dončić finally step onto the floor in a Lakers uniform? That remains the question. Redick didn't commit to a specific date, but his optimism suggested it won't be long. The Lakers still have several preseason games ahead, and the expectation is that Dončić will log at least some minutes before opening night. The franchise wants him to get live reps, to connect with his teammates, and to give fans a preview of what's coming. But the priority is clear: his long-term health and readiness for the grind ahead. Until then, the speculation will continue. Every update from practice, every quote from Dončić or Reaves, every lineup experiment in these preseason games will be analyzed for clues about when the superstar will finally take the floor. For now, patience is the message. The Lakers are playing the long game, and if it pays off, Luka Dončic's debut could mark the start of something much bigger than a single preseason win. The Los Angeles Lakers are once again dominating the NBA rumor mill. This time, the attention is on Austin Reaves, the breakout guard who has gone from an undrafted player to one of the team's most reliable offensive weapons. His rise has been nothing short of remarkable, and now with his contract entering a decisive stage, the Lakers must make one of the most important choices of their current era: re-sign him to a massive long-term deal, or trade him while his value is at its peak to reshape the roster around new franchise star Luka Dončić. This situation is not simply about one player. It is about identity, direction, and the delicate balance between chasing a championship now and preparing for the future. Reaves' growth over the past 3 seasons has been steady and undeniable. In 2022-23, he averaged 13 points per game, establishing himself as a strong role player. By 2023-24, he boosted his numbers to nearly 16 points, while also showing he could facilitate the offense with 5.5 assists per night. And in 2024-25, as a full-time starter, Reaves reached a new level: 20.2 points, 5.8 assists, and 4.5 rebounds per game. He also logged nearly 35 minutes per contest, a clear sign of his importance to the rotation. Even in the playoffs, though his shooting efficiency dipped, he proved capable of playing heavy minutes and contributing across the board. For a 27-year-old entering his prime, those numbers signal a player who is no longer just a complimentary piece, but a potential cornerstone. Reaves has also become a fan favorite. His story resonates with Los Angeles supporters. Undrafted, overlooked, but now thriving on one of the NBA's most iconic stages. That narrative matters in a city like LA, where stars are celebrated, but underdog stories build loyalty. The Lakers previously offered Reaves a 4-year, $89 million deal, the maximum possible under the salary cap at that time. He declined, betting on himself. That gamble has paid off. Analysts now project his next contract could range between $30 and $40 million annually, placing him in the same financial tier as some of the league's premier shooting guards. With his bird rights, the Lakers can outbid any competitor in free agency. That gives them leverage, but it also forces a difficult financial calculation. Committing to Reaves at such a price could lock in one of the league's most dynamic backcourts alongside Luka Dončić. But it could also limit the team's ability to strengthen other areas, especially the front court, where rim protection and defensive depth remain question marks. If Los Angeles decides to re-sign Reaves, the contract could easily stretch into the $150–180 million range over 4 or 5 years. Such a move would secure continuity, protect chemistry, and ensure that Dončić has a reliable co-star on the perimeter. For a franchise built on stars, it would also signal a commitment to keeping homegrown talent. However, trade speculation continues to swirl. A sign and trade would allow the Lakers to capitalize on his rising value, potentially acquiring draft capital, young prospects, or established defensive players. Brooklyn, for instance, has been mentioned as a possible partner, with Nick Claxton fitting a need in the Lakers' front court. Other teams might present packages centered around defensive wings or interior depth. For the Lakers, keeping Reaves guarantees stability. He has already proven he can score, create, and adapt alongside Luka Dončić. Trading him, though, could fill immediate gaps and give the team flexibility under the salary cap. For Reaves, staying in Los Angeles offers star visibility, financial security, and the chance to continue growing with the franchise that gave him his NBA start. Yet a trade could also elevate him into a featured role elsewhere, with a team willing to hand him the keys to the offense. For potential trade partners, acquiring Reaves means securing a 27-year-old with all-star upside, playoff experience, and leadership qualities. In a league where teams constantly balance winning now with developing for the future, that makes him a rare and highly valuable asset. He provides elite secondary scoring and consistent playmaking next to Luka Dončić. He is young enough to bridge both short-term contention and long-term plans. His chemistry with teammates and his connection with Lakers fans cannot be overlooked. Re-signing him maintains trade leverage, even if the team decides to explore options later. A max-level contract could restrict flexibility under the new CBA. His defense remains a concern, particularly in a Dončić-Reaves backcourt. Moving him could bring in much-needed size, rim protection, or defensive versatility. It reduces luxury tax pressure, giving the front office room for other acquisitions. If the Lakers keep him and his development stalls, they could find themselves locked into an expensive deal that hinders roster building. If they trade him, they risk alienating fans and potentially giving away a player who has yet to hit his full ceiling. The most balanced path forward appears to be re-signing Reaves in the $30 to $35 million range annually. That would secure one of the team's most consistent performers, protect continuity, and leave enough flexibility for future moves. Still, if a game-changing front-court player becomes available, or if another franchise offers a blockbuster package, the Lakers may be forced to reconsider. In the end, Austin Reaves' future is more than a contract discussion. It is a statement about what kind of team the Lakers want to be in the post-LeBron era. His situation is one of the defining storylines of the 2026 offseason, and the decision made in Los Angeles could very well shape the next era of Lakers basketball.